So when people talk about Dishonored 2's level design, usually people mention like the Clockwork Mansion, a crack in the slab, and all. But in truth, most of the game are not those grand ideas never seen before or anything like that. They're just very solid street section, right? Every mission in the game before you get to the building you're supposed to infiltrate, there is a street section which at first could sound forgettable and repetitive, right? It's just you go through the city and it's always the same. But I freaking love the street section. I think they are not by far, but they are clearly the best part of the game, and they are absolutely amazing. Look at how beautiful this is. My god, so I want to talk about that. This particular street section is the one at the beginning of the Royal Conservatory. So first, let's mention a bit the reason why it's so genius to have those street section. Because at first, we would think, at first one could think that they'd rather have a mission which is entirely made of the interesting part, right? Instead of having to go through an uninteresting city before you get to the actual building you're here for, right? But it's not the case. Two reasons why those street sections are important. First off, world building, right? It's an immersive sim. They want to build a world. It's very important to build a world, and you can't really world build if you're just going through unusual and remarkable place, right? Because the world is the street, and so if you're only going to through mansions and castles, and you won't get the world building you need. So this is the first reason why you want to make a street section like that. And second is uh, save development costs, right? Because you have to realize that there is an art kit, which is basically models that are reused to build the buildings. And there is also work that went to thinking of how the architecture would look. There's a lot of man hours that are put into making the streets of Karnaka, and you wanna use them as much as possible. If you can get hours and open hours of gameplay within spaces that have the same visual styles, the same assets, and the same architecture, you are saving a lot of money. Of course, this is a balancing act, because if every section is the same street section, you're just going to have a boring game. But this is the problem with reusing assets, right? It's really a balancing act. And I think Dishonored does it very well, because first, wow, this is beautiful, and second, every time you have a street section, it is a bit unique. The time of day is not the same. This is the only street section that is at night. Grand Palace, the street section is evening. Clockwork Mansion, the street section is morning, right? And so this always keep it fresh, and also each district has also a visual flair. Those trees are unique to where we are at right now, and obviously making a few trees is way cheaper than making a whole new art set. And I think in general, Arkane Studio is very good at reusing their asset and being really mindful of when they create an asset and when they reuse one, because those levels are filled to the brim with details, right? And it's absolutely incredible the number of models and of things they put here and there. And normally a game can't spend all these resources making a bunch of 3D models and all, but because they reuse it throughout all the game, it's fair for them to create so many assets. And really is no other game than Dishonored 2, I think, manages to have that much details and that much care put into its environment. And it's in good part because they reuse them, and they are smart about how they use their art assets. Let's move on. So little thing, this dude is facing away from you. It's something I got from videos from Steve Lee, which was a level designer in Dishonored 2. He did the Dust District, I think, not this mission in particular, but that's in general in stealth game or in game in general. You don't want the enemies to face the player and to directly see the player. You want the player to see the enemy first so they can react and think accordingly, right? Next thing I want to talk about, which is basically Harvey Smith's Design 101, Game Design 101, which is the concept of pushing and pulling, which is an important concept when building layouts for immersive sims game, right? Because you can go anywhere. You are absolutely free to go anywhere, and it's hard, and you have to be mindful of how you direct the player to where you want them to go. So let's think, where do the game designer want us to go? So obviously the main objective is over there, it's the Royal Conservatory, or... Oh, come on. The main objective is over there. Short-term objective is this wall of light. You have to diffuse. But if we think in general in what are not objective but that developer want us to go to, there is the black market, which is important for the gameplay loop. They don't want you to miss it. And there is the overseer outpost, which is very important in building the plot and building the... It's actually an optional objective in building the plot and building the world, right? So those are the two places they want you to go to, right? And so pushing and pulling are gonna be used to get you to these places, basically. They are going to be used to make it so that you don't beeline directly to the objective, but you are naturally made to go where they want you to go. Okay? First, pushing. This guard pushes you away. You don't want to go near this guard. Pulling. This door right here. Pulling. Because there is the black market sign. Obviously, that's the most obvious form of pulling. And when you arrive from right here, there is light, right? Gamers are attracted by light. Pulling. This pipe right here. In the language of the game, this pipe has been made to represent you can climb here and follow this path and get over here, right? Oh my god. You know what? I'm gonna switch to easy so they don't hear me at all, right? Gonna be easier. So this pipe is pulling. In the language of the game, this pipe means climb up there and go right here. So they are pulling you towards the left. They really want you to go to the left. But imagining you don't. Imagining you go through the street. Pushing. Guards. Lots of guards. 2 guards. There are 2 guards behind over there. There is no cover. There is very little cover. This is not a vantage point. They can see you because it's not high enough. So this, it's a cover if you are to the left, and so you remain to the left. You follow this path to the left, which is the only way you can have cover, and you end up light, attracted to light. We are insects, right? And you end up going into the building. Right. Okay. So this is kind of the basics of pushing and pulling. Maybe I could make a little drawing on the map, right? So it pushes you away and pulls you towards there, right? Okay, so we'll get back to pushing and pulling, but before, let's check this out. Never mind, apparently it already happened because I already went right here. This is the importance of storytelling within level design, which is something Dishonored and Arcane in general is extremely good at, right? And by the way, since we can see the initial read again, look how on this shot the only thing that is attracting you is that is pulling you is the door on the left, right? So when the first thing you see is that, you're immediately going to want to go left, right? So let's go left. Can I get taps? There is a scripted sequence where basically there's a howler that is harassing this woman, and in fact this woman is also a howler, and they are faking it so that you get here, and their acolyte comes and kills you, right? And there is this guy hiding behind there. This is so great. Those scripted sequences, not only do they remind you that the howler exists, because it's very important that you remember them, because they are the main antagonist of the next mission, right? And it's really great because it allows the player to make a choice on the moment, and it's the kind of choices that are the best, because there is no prompt like you see in Bioshock Infinite, where when you can either throw a ball on the bad white man or on the mixed couple, right? If you haven't played the game, it's gonna sound weird, but you know what I mean. And there's this prompt: A shoot left, B shoot right, right? Those are not good choices because they don't come from the heart. They don't come from the player freedom, and it's all about player freedom in immersive sim. So this kind of interaction, which you choose to react or not, right? It's one of the best things that Dishonored does, right? And this this relates to holistic level design, which is also a talk that Steve Lee gave at the GDC, in which he talked about how every aspect of a game appears in the level design, and in this particular instance, it's the narrative and the world building that appears in the level design. So the level design is not just about gameplay; it's about narrative too, right? Next thing I want to talk about is the pacing. So how is pacing built in stealth game like Dishonored? There need to be resting spots where you are safe, right? And dangerous spots where there are enemies. And one important thing that builds the feeling of progression within the level is that the dangerous spot, you formulate a strategy, you kill the enemies, right? And the danger spot becomes conquered, and you then you loot, right? It's how a lot of people play Dishonored in general, right? They will come up here, see, okay, there's this enemy over here, this enemy, and they will think about how can I make it so that I take them all down, and then I can look around and mess around, right? And what's this required, this aspect of conquering spaces and making room more and more safe until you have conquered the whole mission, really? It's important that once you are conquered, the game accepts that you have won and don't mess with it, right? I'm gonna explain what I mean by that when I'm done, right? Okay. So right now I can switch my brain off and think, okay, I don't need to worry about this alleyway because there's nothing here anymore. An example of bad design would be to have a guard that patrols and comes around here and goes through this door and goes around here and goes away like that, because it would mean that the place that I've considered safe because I have killed every enemy I could see is not safe because there was an enemy that was outside of the place and that went around here and that still got into the place, right? And so this comes around to the level is separated into rooms. So this is a room, for example, and enemies stay within the room. they don't go in between rooms, they don't go from one room to another, because you need to make sure that the player understands where are the enemies and when they are done with conquering a room, right? This is a very important concept, and this comes around also to tethering agents. This is a talk that Laurent Couvidou gave at AI in Games, and it's really interesting, which is basically the concept that you want to limit the AI within the navigation to a specific place, and you don't want the AI to run all around the map, right? For example, this is a room. There's this guard, this guard, this guard, and whatever you do right here, those guards will not go up here, right? This guard will never come up here, because it's too overwhelming for the player to have to think about all the guard and all the section. Whereas right here they can formulate a plan. They can think, okay, there are these two guards right here. I'm gonna take down this one and maybe take it up there, right? And it's a bit of conquering, right? They have conquered a bit of this area, but they are not done. Yeah, I guess you get the point, right? Which gets me. Let's go back to pushing and pulling. This wall of light is the objective, right? And you have already been trained to think that when there is a wall of light, it's connected to a spinning a windmill, right? The wall of light is always connected to a windmill, and so you want to go to the windmill and disconnect it. So right now what's doing the pulling is the windmill. You are gonna want to go to the windmill, and let's think about where is this windmill pulling. It's pulling toward that right here, right? This is the second thing. You know, I mentioned there are two things the level designer wants you to see. It was the black market and the overseer outpost, which is right in there. And so you see the main objective is next to the overseer outpost, and that's absolutely great. It means that the objective that the player will naturally gravitate to is also next to the place the level designer wants you to go, right? And by the way, this is also a great bit of storytelling. Not really storytelling, but the player will feel like there is a story right here. You know, they come into the apartment and he's sleeping, and they have to look around without him waking up. It's just a great setup. I love this setup. And this setup is even better when you see that the objective is to listen to this audio graph, and once you listen to this audio graph, it wakes him up, right? And so you will end up with a situation that was built within this great setup, right? I absolutely adore this setup.
It's another reason she has
Once again, great environmental storytelling. A pistol under the bed. This is just great. This is it's a kind of details that sets this game apart from the other, you know. And once again, look at how much details there is in this apartment. And it's because they could put a lot of detail within this apartment, because it's not the only one in the game. All these assets are reused, and that's why it's great that they have street section and apartments like that, because it's absolutely breathtaking and absolutely incredible. And this comes from the fact that they can reuse assets and save on assets. And once again, they reuse assets, but this apartment is still unlike any other, because you have the aspect that take it apart and make it unique, right? Which is, in this case, the fact that it's an overseer outpost. Absolutely amazing. By the way, there is also an entry point with power, which is, it's important that you allow a player with power to use them, and never forget that usually it's not in a game breaking way, right? Right here they can enter from the other side of this wall instead of from the window, but it won't change the nature of the space itself or of the level. But it still feels great when you have a power and you see, oh my god, I can use this power, I'm so great, you know. Moving on, we saw how the pulling pulled us toward where the level designer wanted us to be, right? So it pulled us here because they wanted us to see that. So the windmill pulled us. On the other hand, there are things that the level designer don't want us to see. What could it be, right? I'm just gonna turn off that. Okay, great. Great. What are examples of things the level designer don't want us to see and don't want us to do? For example, that right here. I just skipped the mission, I jumped here and I ran away, and I skipped all the point of the mission, the wall of light and all that. It's great because it's an immersive sim, and that's what makes immersive sim so special, is that we can't do whatever, we can go anywhere, and we can skip a large portion of the game, but still naturally we don't want every player to be skipping everything, because else they don't play the game right. And why is this way of skipping, this particular way of skipping is acceptable, is that, like we said, the level designer want to avoid that you go over there, and so it is absolutely not visible by most part of the level. When you come from here, you don't see that there is a hole and that you can go through there. Like we said, you are pulled towards the windmill, which is the opposite way, right? So there is little chance that you actually go over there, and you are pushed by the absolutely gigantic number of guards that there is down there, right? And there is no light coming from there, and so on and so forth. On the other hand, once you are a pro gamer, smart, incredible, that notice that, oh my god, I can go there, the level design tells you, yes, we noticed too that you can skip the level. It's not that we are dumb. We are just so smart that we thought of everything. And once again, you have a pipe which tells you, this pipe within the language of the game tells you, yes, go there, come here, and skip the level, and yes, you're very smart, right? But notice how this pipe is not visible when you come from the actual level, which is the windmill, right? So this is just a little example of how pushing and pulling can be used within the game to indirectly make you get to where the level designer wants you to go, without being forced and blocked by invisible walls and this kind of stuff. And it's really a core of the level design principle of immersive sim, right? And we also talked a bit about how you have to not overwhelm the player, and how you have to limit how the AI can navigate through your level, to make sure that it's always clear where there is an AI and where there isn't, right? I think I can stop there. I hope this was interesting. I've just been rambling about. Thank you so much for watching, and just a reminder, once again, I'm not a professional. I didn't work on Dishonored, I didn't work on anything, I'm just a fan, right? So take everything I said with a grain of salt, and I will see you next time.